So first of all, I think I have a small problem with the system at my end. I'm unable to see the material that I'm sharing with you. I'm supposed to be sharing with you. So extremely sorry about that. So that being said and done, I don't think that should kind of like hold us back. I think we should still be able to go forward and have this session moving forward. So the agenda for today is very simple. So people have been asking, how is it possible to tune an ECU without having access to a dyno? So what we wanted to do was like try to like explain to you how that would possibly be done, right? So that was the primary agenda. And apart from this, what we also wanted to know was, if you guys are okay with learning about ECU tuning, do you know what exactly ECU tuning is? And if you can actually like, take this up and probably like take this forward. So these are basically like things that we wanted to kind of like discuss with you. So if there's any other agenda that you guys have, as in you want to ask us some questions, something else which you want to do, what you could do is you could type out your questions in the questions box. So unlike the previous sessions where it was more like me trying to give you information, this time around it will be more like I'll spend more time listening to you, and probably like I'll get answers to your questions, right? So before we start, the first thing like we usually do is we post some polls, so for us to better understand what exactly you guys are from, what is your background and things like that. So why exactly are you interested in looking at this? So is it because you want to just simply learn for the sake of learning, or if you're actually looking at starting a career in calibration, right? So we do say ECU tuning, but as you see that we go in front, I mean, we go forward, it's actually like much more than just ECU tuning. There's so much more that is there which you could learn. So it's very much okay if you're just like here to learn about it, or even if you want to start a business. There've been quite a lot of people from our side who's actually like done this course, and they've gone back and they've kind of like started a business post this as well. Okay, so great. So about 50%, 9 of you are wanting for a career, and 3 for the business, and 5 for just for learning sake. So it's perfectly fine if you want to do it as a business as well, because this is something which you would possibly be able to build a business around it. So this is about myself. So I'm Sajid, and I I juggle 2 careers. So one is I run Reynlab, which is a edutech company where we educate people using what we call as the state-of-the-art virtual laboratories. So most of the engineering concept, most of the industrial concepts, you will not be able to learn until and otherwise you probably go to the industry and you work on a system, and you kind of like learn from there. But at Reynlab, what we try to do is we try to build virtual models of these systems, so that what happens is you are able to work on our virtual labs, the virtual models, and you are able to learn from that as well, right? So the other part of things, what I do is I work as an adjunct faculty at BITS Pilani, and my job at BITS Pilani is to teach professionals from the industry. So there are these MTech programs which happens over there, which is MTech Automotive Engineering and Automotive Electronics, where the students are all professionals who are working in the industry. So because of the nature of that, I tend to interact with quite a lot of people from the industry, and which subsequently gets converted into what kind of an information we offer on our course modules as well, right? So that's about me. And prior to it, I was working with UCAL Fuel Systems, where we were in charge of the project where we're trying to convert carburetors to fuel injection, right? So there was that's primarily where the knowledge came from, and even before that, we've been very actively involved with motorsports. So the fixed agenda is what I have, right? The career tracks and other things. But primarily, what I wanted to talk about is how I have learned ECU tuning, how I've learned to tune cars, how I've learned motorsports is basically by working on vehicles, right? And this is the dyno that we have in our garage, and now it's present at the Bitspilani campus in Hyderabad. So now it took us almost an investment of about 35 lakhs, and not less than 4 or 5 years working on various different cars and collecting information from various sources to exactly learn how to tune a car, right? Which is why there are so few people in the country who actually know how to tune a car. So now here I am trying to teach you guys how we could do this tuning without actually having access to a car or a dyno, or even without, like, a one-to-one interaction. How can we teach you to tune this vehicle, such a complex things, by just online classes and virtual methods? So that's basically what I wanted to talk to you about. So now see, the thing here is like this. Like I said, to set this dyno center up, we've spent close to about 35 lakhs in monetary terms alone, not in terms of time that we've put in, but the amount of money that we put in to set this up has been around 30 to 35 lakhs. And how we were able to do it initially is, we would get a batch of 15-20 people to come together, and we would say, okay, we are teaching you ECU tuning, we have a dyno here, we have a car on the dyno, and you can learn to tune on the car. But what we were actually doing with those vehicles, where we were afraid, what if the students actually like spoiled something on the car? So we would let a group of 5 of them to sit and prepare a map for the vehicle, and we will not let them flash the map. We will flash the map, and I'll personally drive the car. I'll check if everything is fine, double check, triple check, and if everything is fine, I'll just do one small dyno run, and I'll stop it, and I'll give them a comment saying, "Yeah, this looks good," and blah 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 blah. Right? So that was all that was possible, basically, because for the fees that we could collect from the students, I cannot run a risk of, like, breaking my car or my engine or something like that. So which got us into thinking that, we, when I say we, it's like basically, Jafar, like, no, what you are asking for, that is like basically for you to talk. It's microphone. So like, I'll do that. Please do request for access again. It's not a speaker. It's basically like you getting a microphone access, right? So it's muted because disturbances from your side would come into the session. So if you're not able to hear, please try to refresh. It is I cannot give you access to the speaker. So that what I can give you access is the microphone and not the speaker per se. Okay, please do request for access again, but make sure you stay on mute. Please request for access again. I'll accept. I'll approve it. No, no. I think you are clicking on the wrong tab. Then okay, Raj, if you're there, can you please talk to Jafar and help him out, please? Okay, great. And if any of you have any questions, please put it in the questions tab. Okay, not in the chat box. If you could put it in the questions tab, it would be great. Okay, great. So, effectively, like, so this is what the conclusion we came to is this. There is no way that we can let students learn individually. That was not going to happen. And without learning individually, I really felt that it was not doing justice to what we were trying to do. So which led us to kind of think about different ways in which we could develop new technologies, and the culmination of that kind of a journey, right? 3 years of research and probably some 40-45 lakhs of money spent on it, is what we call as the virtual dyno. So now this virtual dyno, this is basically something where we have tried to create a digital equivalent of the bike that you see here, right? So the KTM RC390 in race spec, along with this dyno, which is the Race Dynamics dyno, and some more extra features to it, right? So this is basically what we have recreated on our virtual dyno. So the first thing, to answer your question, how can you learn to do a dyno tuning without having access to a dyno, is you can do a virtual dyno tuning. And believe us when we say that this is 70% accurate, because we've had a dyno with us, we've had the bike with us, we've kind of like probably put in about easily about 4,000 5,000 kilometers equivalent of testing on the bike, and whatever data we have collected, we have converted that into a virtual model. So now when you work on a virtual dyno, what you're exactly doing is you're working on the same kind of a setup as what you see here in front of you. So let me just try to quickly see if I can log you into our website and take you through this. So just give me a second while I do that. I'll just show you how the virtual dyno looks. So you could probably have a look at that as well. Just give me a second while I pull it up. So we have a question which is come up. Do you offer any offline? Okay, right now I think I should probably tell you this. There is no way we can offer an offline tuning or offline training or offline internship. We will not be able to do any of these things, primarily because kind of like the restrictions which is basically there in place, which we cannot take on board. And second thing is the amount of time that we would have to spend with you guys. So for that matter, we don't kind of have any offline training courses as of now. The only thing which we offer is online. So in order to kind of like make it easy for you is why we are trying to like take you through this entire thing where we kind of show you what exactly the virtual dyno is and things like that, right? So Magesh, to answer your question, I'm sorry, we cannot offer an offline internship right now. One, we are not allowed to open up right now, and second thing, we don't have the bandwidth to kind of take it up as well. So let me just show you what the virtual dyno is going to look like. So hope you can see my screen here, right? So this is basically what your virtual dyno is going to look like. So there are going to be three different portions in the virtual dyno. Do let me know if you're able to see my screen. Okay, if you're not able to see it, just are you guys able to see my screen? You can, right? Okay, great. So the first part is the ECU tuning interface. So here what you see, this is the spark and this is the air fuel ratios. This is the ECU tuning interface which you would have on a real ECU. So like I said, we have taken a race dynamics ECU and we have converted that into a virtual model. Not exactly the RD ECU, but something similar to it, right? So you have a spark and you have a fuel tables. You have an option of either tuning it here, or you could download it as an Excel file, tune it there, and you can upload it here as well, depending on whatever is suitable for you. So the more advanced users, if you want to do something like maybe build a machine learning algorithm and then help you tune it, yes, it can be done. Data analytics and machine learning for calibration, it definitely can be done. It is being done in the industry, and that those are all part of the future exercises which you could probably try out using our virtual dyno. So if you want to do anything of that sort, you can download CSVs and you can do all your optimizations and you can re-upload it here, right? So this is the first part of the dyno. Now, this is basically the area where we display how your tuning looks. So any changes that you do here, now suppose say I've selected the spark map, and suppose I go back here. So this basically shows me how the spark map is going to look. So this is a 3D visualization of the data that I have inputted into the ECU here, and this is something which is going to help you very much in optimizing the maps, right? You can smoothen it out and other things. You can visually see it and get a feel for it. So this is the first part, like I told you, and now this is the second part of the dyno. So you know that a dyno basically measures horsepower, torque, and quite a lot of things. So just in case we are catering to multiple students, like what we are doing right now. So we have students who are looking at taking this up as a career. So you guys want to go and work in the industry. So in the industry, they're going to ask you, have you worked in an engine test cell before? So no, the obvious answer if you're a fresher is going to be no. But what you could say is, you could say, no, but I've actually worked on a virtual engine test cell. So what did you do on a virtual engine test cell? You could say, we did some calibration exercises, we did some emissions measurement, we did some other engine efficiency test, we did some engine fuel flow rate optimization. So there's quite a lot of things which you can do with this dyno, as you would find, and these are primarily present because these are kind of things which you would directly be doing if you go join an OEM somewhere, right? So this is the second part of the virtual dyno, and the third part is finally the engine control. So here you can control the engine. I can set the engine RPMs. Maybe I want to run the engine at 6,000 RPM and maybe hold it at 70%, and I want to check what is my horsepower, what is my torque. I can do this, right? I can keep running the engine at various parameters. So now this is what we call as steady state testing in the engine dyno. So in a steady state, you would try to optimize the engine for various parameters. Now, if you go into the OEM, like I said, this is going to be primarily used for OEMs. Now, if you go into OEMs, there is also one another parameter which you would be working with, which is called as transient testing, right? And transient testing is what OEMs publish as data from their engine test cells as well. So in case you want to learn about transient testing, you could do that here. So I can say, okay, run my engine from 1,000 to 10,000 RPM at 100% throttle. So this runs a complete test, and I can plot maybe my brake torque. Right? So this basically shows me what my brake torque, how the brake torque is going to vary against my engine RPM. You can go run multiple tests. You can overlay these things, and you could do quite a lot of studies from this. In fact, if you are taking up a Pro ECU course along with the internship option, we have close to 8 to 9 different various experiments that you could do with this, and each experiment would probably be something like you going to a company like Tata Motors, or you going to some Cummins or some company, and they've assigned a project to you. What project exactly you would do there, that is something which you would be doing as a part of this internship. So this is how powerful our virtual dyno is. And in case you are wondering, is it still good? I would say yes, it is good. And the validation for it is every year we have around 1,500 to 2,000 students who learn using this. And not only just regular students, we have people who come from the top tier engineering colleges. Of course, BITS Pilani, we host close to 500 to 1,000 students every year. Apart from that, we do have students coming in from various other institutions, NITs, IITs, quite a lot of people who come and who use this platform to basically understand and learn how an engine works and how engine calibration works, right? So that's the first part of my agenda. I'm going to stop the screen sharing and probably share the material again. Right. So any questions you guys have related to the virtual dyno, you could possibly put it out in the the questions tab. Now, getting back to the presentation. So now that you have seen what exactly our virtual dyno can do, this is when our cars were winning the race titles, the INRC and other titles. So a quick recap about what our students have been able to do through this course, right? So we have people who have taken up remap franchises. We have people running performance workshops. People who have got into OEMs, and we also have people who have kind of taken this up as a hobby, and they've been building their own cars. In fact, one person he's been building a engine which could supposedly run on biofuel, right? So there have been quite a lot of interesting projects which our guys work on. And the same curriculum is what I teach at BITS Pilani. And when I say at BITS Pilani, it is to these companies that you see on the screen in front of you. I've delivered the same courses to ECU manufacturers like Aptiv, Robert Bosch, and also engine manufacturers like Cummins, vehicle manufacturers like Mahindra and Tata Motors, right? So this is about what the course can do for you. And now let me just quickly run you through what exactly we have in plan in terms of the course, right? Now, before we do that, let me just post another question. So just to kind of get you guys to open up a lot more. So how many of you here think that you need to have an engineering degree to actually start tuning ECUs or probably to do calibration? So Those of you who've answered no, you are right from a aftermarket perspective. So if you're trying to tune for, say, motorsports or something, then maybe yes, you don't need an engineering degree. Um, but believe me, when you want to take this up as a career, when I say as a career, I'm not talking about becoming a motorsports tuner or becoming a remap specialist. I'm talking about going and starting to work in an industry, right? So at that point of a time, it actually, like, it does require an engineering degree, primarily because of what requirements the companies would have more than anything else, right? So both of you who answered yes, who answered no, both of you are correct, right? And the reason for that is because when we say that we are going to teach you engine tuning, what we mean is we are going to teach you about automotive control systems and the process to calibrate it. Sounds difficult, right? So which is why we don't use that. We just tell you we teach ECU tuning. It's so much more simpler, but trust me, the actual process, if you get into it, it is something which you can make it complicated, but fortunately we've been doing it for the last 15 years, and we can probably, like, say that we can make it easy enough for you, so you don't actually need to have any engineering degree, and we would still be able to teach you how to do ECU tuning, right? Now, of course, there are various other ECUs, right? You have standalone ECUs, you have OEM ECUs, and we do offer training for both of these things. So the difference is standalone ECUs are those which you purchase, you install it yourself, and you tune it, mostly for aftermarket or motorsport application. Whereas OEM ECUs are those which come in the car, and you cannot replace that. Like, say, in the case of a diesel car or something, so you just have to go in for a remap. So you flash a better map into it, a map which can get you, more horsepower, more torque, something like that. So which is why we call it as a remap, right? So that's what is called as a remap. So now, circling back and coming to the original point where we started, what do you exactly need to learn tuning? If you want to learn tuning on your own, of course, there's quite a lot of YouTube videos out there which can help you learn. So now, if you want to learn tuning on your own, you need to have three very essential tools. So the first one is a wideband oxygen sensor, like the one you see here from AEM or Zetronics or quite a lot of companies out there. So you need a wideband oxygen sensor, which will tell you how much fuel you're putting into the engine. You need a knock monitor, which will tell you if your engine is knocking, if it's going to destroy yourself. You need a knock monitor for that. And finally, you need a dyno facility. So you look at the cost aspect of it, right? Of course, you need a car or a bike, and then you need an ECU as well. So when we started off, we had a Maruti Esteem. We spent about 2-3 lakhs on the car, and then we had an ECU which was about another 60,000-70,000 rupees, and then the wideband, which was 30 or 40,000 rupees. Then for every hour of dyno, we used to pay 2,500 rupees, or we'll take it to the some deserted roads, and we would try to test drive it over there, and every time 500,000 bucks in fuel used to go in. It took us so much of a time and so long to actually go out and do all these things, and probably I would have spent nothing less than 2-3 lakhs learning about ECU tuning. So now that is what we want to avoid by giving you an alternate. So for those of you who say that no, we want to learn only by working ourselves, there are quite a lot of people we do come across. Unfortunately, we are unable to tell them why is it that the online is better for you. So now, simply put, it would be like this. So if you want to learn it offline, you would have to probably spend 3-4 lakh rupees. If you want us to teach offline, you cannot expect us to teach the same thing at maybe 1/10 of the price, right? Because the car again is our car. We would have to do the same thing. So which means if you want to learn ECU tuning offline, even if we were to put you in a batch of 10 or something like that, we would have to charge you around maybe 75,000 to 1 lakh rupees to kind of equate the running cost and other things for you, right? So instead, what we do is we offer you the online option, where, as you have seen before, the wideband O2 is now virtual. The knock monitor is present in the virtual dyno. Dyno facility is virtual. You don't need a car. You don't need an ECU, and you don't have to get out of your house to learn it, right? So you basically do all the mistakes that you want to do, or you would rather do when you're learning to tune. You do all of those things on our virtual system. Nothing's gonna break, right? And finally, when you have learned sufficiently enough, you could actually go, you could invest in a car or a bike with ECUs, and you could probably like take it forward from there, right? So that's basically what the virtual tuning, the virtual dyno tuning is going to give you. Now, moving on, and probably like before we move on, just another small question for you guys to just think about. Now, we spoke quite a lot about remaps and other things. So we do get quite a lot of calls from people who ask, can I set up a remap center myself, right? They want to do that. And I want to start tuning my own cars. Can I buy some remap tools and can I start remapping myself? So now the quickest answer to you guys is yes, you can, but any original tool, right? Any original tool will end up costing you about 3 to 3.5 lakhs plus. So now the question you want to ask yourself is it really worth for me to spend 3.5 lakh rupees to just tune my car? In most cases, it does not. So we suggest if you want to tune your personal cars, probably the best thing for you to do would be to go and like probably purchase a standalone ECU and do it, right? That would be a lot more easier than doing it in any other of the ways. So let me just quickly skip it because the this is not something about the tuning process per se, but yes, we would probably like talk a little bit about the career tracks, and then probably I can take up your questions after that. So most people do ask us, okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to learn this course from you. What do I do after that? Is this course going to get me a job? Will you offer me a job? Will you help me get a job? So what you have to understand is, as far as automotive OEMs goes, okay, as far as motorsport goes, as far as any engine manufacturer or an ECU manufacturer goes, the knowledge that you gain in this course is the absolute fundamentals that you need to have before you could even think of working with these guys, right? It is not the essential knowledge you should have, it is the basic knowledge that you should have. It's kind of like knowing your ABCs, right? So you cannot hope to go and work with Bosch if you go and tell them that I don't know what an ECU is, I don't know what how you wire an ECU, or I don't know what calibration. I mean, they're not even going to consider you for a job, right? So please do understand this. The ECU tuning course which we offer is the fundamental basic knowledge which you guys should have before you can attempt for any jobs. This course by itself will not qualify you for jobs unless you've had some previous experience, or unless you're approaching for jobs in some specific areas, right? Which could be engine testing. So if you're approaching a job on engine testing, then yes, this course, the experience that you have might help you get into that. Right? Of course, you'll have to have the requisite marks and quite a lot of other things. But like I said, this is the absolute basic knowledge which you need to have before you get into it. And that being said and done, there are two tracks you can choose from. So the first one is the aftermarket track, which includes setting up your own garages, motorsport teams, and all of those things. And the second one is getting into OEMs. So when I say OEMs, you go work as a model-based development engineer or a engine calibration, maybe a wiring harness development guy. There's quite a lot of things which you can do in the OEM track as well. But like I said, keep in mind that the primary prerequisite for all of these jobs is the knowledge which you want to get right now, and that's just going to be where you start off from. It is not the end point; it is where you are starting, which basically means that you would need this knowledge to get started with things, and this is not the be all and end all. This is just something which will get you started on things, right? Now, how do you actually learn ECU tuning? So I've said it is quite complex and it's things like that. But how do we actually learn tuning? We break it into smaller parts where we assume that you don't know anything about engines, you don't know anything about ECUs, and we say, hey, okay, this is what an engine is, this is what an ECU is, this is how the engine and ECU work together, this is how you control fuel, this is how you control spark, and that's it. You're done with your basic tuning, right? So do we start with basic tuning, stop with basic tuning? No, we don't. We have two versions of the course. So in the pro course, what we do is we go into advanced tuning. So we teach you how OEMs control them, how turbocharged systems work, how petrols are different from diesels, or rather how diesels are different from petrols. How do you tune a diesel ECU, an OEM ECU, a remap that is? And finally, we get into the performance section, where we cover what is a turbocharger, how do you turbocharge a vehicle, what is intake, what is exhaust, what is cams, how do you modify a car. So these are all the things which we cover as a part of our pro course as well, right? So right. So this is basically like what I wanted to kind of like talk to you guys about. Now, before we move further, standalone, yes, we do cover standalone ECUs as well. Very much we do that. And in fact, the virtual dyno is all about standalone ECU tuning, and advanced standalone ECU tuning comes in the pro course, right? So now let me stop here. Let me take the questions, and then if there's anything else, we'll move from there. Okay. So so the first question from Magesh, I had already answered it, but just putting it out here. Do we have any offline internship? No, we don't have offline internship, but we do have online internships. You could get in touch with Raj regarding the same. And the reason we don't have offline is, first thing is we cannot accommodate you at our garage right now. And the second thing is also about the manpower crunch we have because of the lockdown and other things. Participation certificate, yes, you do get a internationally valid STEM accredited certificate for this. I mean, not for this one, but for our course basically. So for this, if you want, no, we don't, right? How can you get this software? Akshay, this is something which we developed on our own. It is a part of the Reynlab courses. So if you want, you can get 2 days trial access through our website. Go to our website, you can get 2 days access through the virtual dyno course. You just have to go to the course which says virtual dyno. You will get, I think, 2 or 4 days, I'm not sure. You'll get a free access. But if you want to learn how to use it or something, then you would basically have to take up one of our courses. Internship contain learning resources, or is it a project-based learning? See, Ajay, like it's of two different varieties. So the first part is you would have to have taken up the ECU tuning course, right? If you have taken the ECU tuning course, then we can offer a couple of different projects. If you are not taking up the ECU tuning course, you just want to do some projects alone, then there's a couple of different things, right? So there will be a little bit of learning resources as well, but primarily it's a project-based learning. You will learn to work on our virtual dyno, which is basically working on a engine test cell, and depending on your qualifications. When I say qualification, not your educational qualification, but whether you know to tune a engine, I mean, you know the calibration process and things, you can take up various different projects. Right? It will be completely project based. Raj will get back to you with more information on that. In stage of tuning, I'm sorry. In stage of tuning a dyno with OEM, is fuel efficiency have changed after tune the dyno with stock or OEM? Sibi, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If the fuel efficiency have changed after tune the dyno, Sibi, can you please repeat your question? I'm unable to answer your question. Can you please post another question? Can you do it, or if you want, I can unmute you. You can ask your question as well. Request for mic access, and I'll unmute you. Okay. What is the lowest budget for equipment if I want to start remapping and tuning? I would say around 3 lakhs. That would be the lowest. So that would be the price for a basic tool along with a laptop and a basic scan tool. So this is what you would need to start off with remapping, and you would need at least 3 lakh rupees for that. Level 0. Gautam, I think you are in the level 1, right? If I'm not wrong. Level 0 courses are not exactly for bike tuning. For bike tuning, you will need the ECU tuning formula version, formula student course, not the level 0 course. Right. Do we need to complete our engineering to understand today's session? Because you don't need to complete your engineering. See, Pratham, what I'm trying to tell you is, is there a right time for you to probably learn about? Maybe let's do it this way. Is there a right time for you to learn integral and differential calculus? You learned it in I'm sorry, probably 11th or 12th, right? But The actual usage for it comes probably like in your second year of engineering or third year of engineering. So similarly, I'm sorry, just give me a second. So similarly, what you learn in this calibration, this is something like your integral and differential calculus. So you learn it, and as you go with various subjects that you do, depending on what branch you're doing, you would be able to kind of like apply to various things. So in simpler questions, you can do it even if you have just completed 10th standard, right? So that is what we do. Sorry about it, but yeah, there is no need for you to complete engineering to do the course. You would be able to understand even if you have not. All you have to do is enroll for one of our sessions, and you would be able to understand it. The prerequisite for this is basically 10th standard high school mathematics and physics. So if you're good with it, that's it. Nihal, what is the cost of a dyno? Max power measurable around 200 to 300. So if you want to go in for one of the branded dynos, I think you would spend about 20 lakhs would be the cheapest price, going all the way up to 30, 35 lakhs. If you want to go for unbranded ones, basically say something which we can manufacture for you or something, then the price would be around probably around 10 to 15 lakhs at max. Mohammed Aman, can I build my own car if I take pro course from engine setup to turbo and EC tuning? Yes, Mohammed, you you would be able to do it. That is the whole idea of the pro course. You would be able to set up your ECU, turbocharge it, and you would be able to build the whole engine setup yourself. And of course, we are always there to help you out in case you do get stuck. But yes, you would have sufficient knowledge after you do the pro course. Does the equipment you mentioned along with the laptop include all ports as you own an S1000 pocket? See, like Jafar, like I think what I meant is the hardware part of it. So now, when you want to do say something like a remap or something, right? You have a hardware, you have a software, and then you have the scan tools and other things. So if you want it specifically for the BMW S1000RR, then I can probably like if you can connect with us offline, I can tell you which tool and which interface to purchase and where to purchase the software from. I can probably like help you out with it. What I mentioned was the generic ones, which would work for say. I mean, if you're from India, I'm not. I mean, I'm assuming you're from India. So if that's the case, then what I mentioned would let you tune any Volkswagen, Skoda, Audi cars. It would let you tune all the Marutis, most of the Tatas, quite a lot of BMWs. These are all cars, right? So these things, yes, you can use the tool which I mentioned. But if you want it specifically for superbikes, then please get in touch with us. I'll probably get you a better idea about what you'll have to purchase and how much it would cost. Okay. Non-branded bike dyno, like I said, around 10 lakhs at the max. Okay, 10 lakhs at the max, that's how much it would cost you. Licenses, yes, you would have to purchase depending on what you do. Say you might not need a car, right? You might need only for the bike, so you don't have to actually spend so much of it. You can just spend a fraction of the amount, and you can just get the software for that particular bike alone. So, like I said, it might work cheaper, even cheaper for you. So please do get in touch with us offline. You have Raj's number, I guess, or I'll share our contact number in this anyway. So you could basically get in touch with us. Okay, great. Any crack files available for ECU remaps and suspension setup? Nope, Gautam. Unfortunately, no. So what people do pass off as the crack files and things. It's most of the cases it doesn't work, right? So I would advise not to do that. Most of the cases it doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, okay, guys, yeah, coming back to this, so don't get scared like seeing like all these things on the right side. So this is for those of you guys, if you want to kind of start developing ECUs on your own, or if you want to go work with Bosch or something, then of course you would have to learn to develop things like this. but this is covered as a part of our master class. So we will teach you all of these things. It's not something relevant to ECU tuning at this point, so don't get scared seeing this picture, right? But this is basically how the ECUs are built. And I mean, just to show you how complex ECUs can get. Yeah, so some images, right? And quickly running you through our the whole coursework map. So what are all the different topics that we do cover, how we help you out. And the most important thing for most of our students has been the offline support that we give post completion of the course. So someone completes a course, and we understand you are from different parts of the country. So what we do is, once the COVID restrictions release, you have the option of coming down to our garage for 3 or 4 days and spending some time with us, getting to get some hands-on with the tools and the cars and other things, and then getting to learn more, right? Because we always, go in for the hands-on approach as well. So what we do is we give you this offline hands-on experience. Right now, it's not possible, but you can come down anytime after the lockdown is released. You can come down to our garage in Chennai, and we would hopefully have some cars there for you. You can have a look at the cars, if not the tools and other things. So that is always possible. And we also do support you with your business endeavors after you complete the course. So if you say, I would like to set up my tuning workshop in maybe say Delhi NCR or something, so we would be able to offer you support for that. So it's not like we say you do the course and after the course we don't kind of get back to you. No, nothing like that. We would ideally like to offer a continuous support for you guys. So once you're done with the course, you can always like ask for a support in anything post the completion of the course. So you want to set up your business, you want to get into some companies. We've done this so far. We will continue to offer this support, and that is something which there is no conditions to it. For as long as you want our support, it is available for you, right? And this is our contact number in case you guys want to get in touch with us. And Mohammed Aman, so you have a question. So what is the cost of the pro course? So the pro course, the MRP is 17,000 rupees, but we do have some offers which are running. So you could get in touch with Raj, and your Raj would be able to kind of like help you out more with that, right? And like I said, like we would like to like figure out if you are interested in taking up our courses. Now that probably like you understand more about our virtual dyno and how it works. So if you are interested, you could just mark yes, and I would probably like have Raj get in touch with you. If not, if you're not interested, very much well and okay. You don't have to worry about it. There's not a conditional thing or something. Jafar, like I think you should get this as a part of the registration thing. So you should be able to download it. If not, I'll ask. I'll check if Raj can send it out to you separately. Okay, so you have Raj's WhatsApp number over there. Just text him on WhatsApp, and I'll have him send this, the thing to you. So, like I said, like this is just for us to know that if you are interested, if you want us to get in touch with you. So if you do mark it as an S, then we'll basically have Raj get in touch with you and let you know more about our courses, right? And like I said, we have quite a lot of interesting offers running as well. So yes, we could probably like help you out on that. You are in the medical field. I start my own tuning shop if I study. Yes, you can. Sorry. So there has been an ex-student of ours who's actually set up a tuning shop in Oman. I don't remember the exact the city he is in, but he did a course, and then subsequent to it, he's now gone and he's settled in Oman. He has his tuning shop there. So yes, you can. The only restriction would be how much of time and effort you're able to put into it. If you're really interested, if you want to go and do it, yes, you can do it. It should not hold you back, right? Right, great. And yep, so that's it from our side. Hope you had a very interesting session. So another small poll to kind of like rate how the session was. If in case we can do something better, if you could put it, then probably like we would be like more than happy to like improve on it. DIY wiring harness, yes, Magesh, I've made a note of it. I would probably like work on it very soon. So it's just that we are unable to do it right now because of the lockdown and other things, but very soon we would be able to do that. Right. Great. So any other questions? If there's nothing, then we could wrap up. Okay. Two more questions. Sorry. Is bad ECU tuning will harm engine? Arun, yes, if you don't get it right, you can actually blow up the engine, which is why we always advise you to practice on our virtual dyno, understand what is good, what is bad, and then once you're okay with it, then you go practice on your real engines. Formula student teams, Indrajit, I think please get in touch with Raj, and he should be able to help you out with it. Right, 93848522224. That's his number. You could get in touch with Raj, and he'll be able to let you know more about this. For a standalone, we don't need a tool, right? Nope, you don't need. For a standalone, you don't need a tool. You just need a laptop, and that's about it. You don't need anything else. But in terms of tools, I think if you mean extra tools, then you would need your AFR gauge and your knock sensor. But apart from it, you don't need anything else. You can directly connect to it. Mohammed Zaish, do you offer any internships? We offer online internships. Yes, we do offer online internships. So if you're interested, get in touch with Raj. We'll be able to help you out with it. We offer online internships as an additional model using our virtual dyno. After striking the level 1 course, how should we start practicing on our own bikes and cars? So, Adrian, I would say if you have a car already, probably like start off with it, or if you don't, then pick up any Maruti car. It is the cheapest to learn with it. And once you get it, ideally, how it would work is if you are someone who's also interested in motorsports, maybe you would want to take up something like a gymkhana or some autocross or some racing as well. So you basically like start racing and then you start tuning. So it basically goes hand in hand. But I mean, if you want to discuss more about it, lots more to discuss. So we can discuss it in a separate session. But I would say pick up your own car or a bike and start tuning it. And you always will have to have some goalpost. So if you just simply tune, you will lose interest after a while because you're not competing with anyone. So whenever you tune, you make sure you're competing with someone, either with yourself or in a competition or something, and that is when that it becomes a lot more interesting, and you learn a lot more as well. NA cars can be modified with turbocharger. Yes, of course you can. In fact, the Pro course, we have one whole chapter dedicated to converting an NA car into a turbocharged car. So we have that. Make some sessions also. Mohammed, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. If you could please rephrase it. I'm not able to understand this question, right? So, do you have any placement offer after this course? No, like I said, Mohammed Rais, we don't have placement offers because this is, as far as we are concerned, a very fundamental course. So we don't provide, I mean, we cannot provide placements for guaranteed placements, nothing like this. But like I said, once you do the course and then you do some internships, then there are certain companies which would be willing to take you up in case you have the right set of educational qualifications as well. I've seen KTAG tool online. Is it good for tuning? Will it work? No, KTAG is it used to be good, right? So I have a KTAG. I have the original KTAG, but these days I hardly use the KTAG. There's a lot of other tools which have come up, which basically let us work without opening up the ECU. The thing with KTAG is you'll have to open the ECU, you'll have to put it on the bench, and then you'll have to work on it. So that works when you're doing low volumes, but once you do high volumes, it doesn't work. In fact, the only vehicles for which we use KTAG these days, I think. Some BMWs, I think the old Mahindra Thar, some Verna 1.6. That's it. Most of the cars we do OBD using either KES or we use CMD. These are the two tools that we've been using predominantly these days. Okay, so yep, I think. Jafar, let's probably like take it offline. That's something which I need to look into and tell you. So I'll probably like try to take it offline for you. If I take this course, can I work tip remap, appropriate remapping, then see, like this course will give you the basics that you need to understand about ECUs and calibration. So the physical things, like you say, damaged ECU repairing and other things. So those are things which basically like you need a lot more of experience doing it. So we don't cover it explicitly as a part of the course. But that being said, yes, you would have sufficient knowledge to attempt it if needed. But we don't recommend doing it. But you can do it if you want to do it. VCDS, yeah, VCDS is good for the Volkswagen car. So if you have any kind of a diagnostics you want to do for the Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda cars, you would have to use VCDS for it. Okay, I think that's about with all the questions. Great. So